Well, good morning, everybody. We are continuing our reading today in Paul's second letter to the church in Corinth. Now, we find out early on in chapter 2, where we're reading today, that in Paul's first visit to the church in Corinth, the visit ended painfully. Apparently, there was a person, an influential leader, who questioned Paul's authority as an apostle and his authority to lead this particular church. And if Paul were to revisit this church, it might be just more of the pain that was ending up on that first visit. He didn't know if the church would side with him or would side with this influential leader. So Paul writes what he calls a painful letter in which he outlines what he believes this church needs to do to make things right. Let's read a little bit about that first letter. Verse 4, he says, "I wrote that letter in great anguish, with a troubled heart and many tears. I didn't want to grieve you, but I wanted to let you know how much love I have for you." Now, we go on, and Paul realizes that the church received the letter, and in fact, they realized Paul was right. They sided with Paul. And so the church reprimanded this man, and the man repented. He was genuinely sorry. And so Paul continues in verse 7. He says, "Now, however, it is time to forgive and comfort him. Otherwise, he may be overcome by discouragement. So I urge you now to reaffirm your love for him. I wrote to you as I did to test you, to see if you would fully comply with my instructions. When you forgive this man, I forgive him too. And when I forgive whatever needs to be forgiven, I do so with Christ's authority for your benefit, so that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes." So Paul gives us a lesson here on forgiveness. It's really what Jesus told us too. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. He tells us that the reason we forgive is out of Christ's authority, or the literal translation here is that we all stand in the presence of Christ. He is the source of life. He is the power behind his death and resurrection, are the power behind our ability to forgive and his forgiveness for us. Jesus has made it clear in so many places, in parables and in his teachings. He says, if God has forgiven you and me for all that we have done, how can we not forgive others too? Paul reminds us that it's important that he forgives as well as the church forgives this man. He wants that forgiveness to be complete, mutual forgiveness. Lingering bitterness and unforgiveness is toxic on strong relationships, and it's such a waste of time and waste of thought energy, because every day is a gift, and we don't want to waste a second of any day. I'm reminded in Ephesians 4, Paul writes more. He says, "And don't sin by letting anger control you. Don't let the sun go down while you are angry, for anger gives a foothold to the devil. Instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God, through Christ, has forgiven you." Forgiveness truly is a God thing. It frees us up from the ugly bitterness that is held in by our pride, and it allows us to give up our grudges and let God be the one who handles the people that who have hurt us, and allow us to get on with our lives. If we're trying to do it alone, there's no way. We'll on our own, we'll keep reacting to the past, and that'll keep us from moving on to the future. But if we ask God, God is faithful, and he will give us the ability to lose the desire to get even, and he'll give us the desire to forgive and even the power to forgive. Jesus forgives us, and we need to forgive others. Have an amazing day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.